Hello, everyone. I talked a lot about flow recently. Many people have talked about flow, but surprisingly few talk about a sense of purpose. I started getting interested in this when I heard a podcast from that excellent series, A Hidden Brain. The guest speaker, his name was Anthony Burrow from Cornell, and he was describing colloquially what a sense of purpose is. I took notes, and this is what I called. To be a sense of purpose, it has to be personally meaningful. It has to add value to someone. It can be as a group or individual. It's open-ended. It's never really reached. Let's look at those criteria in a bit more depth. Something that's personally meaningful can define a life path. You know when you're on the path or when you've deviated from it. It's self-defining, because you know where you're heading and you define yourself in terms of that. And it's self-descriptive because what you are doing is this. It describes your sense of purpose. It gives a guiding direction. A sense of purpose adds value to someone else. Actions have consequences that benefit other people. It cannot be only self-fulfilling. It cannot be selfish. It can be individual, but actually it's more effective as a group. Imagine a football team. Perhaps individually, the players on that team are not the best, but collectively, they get together and form a unit with a unified sense of purpose. There are some upsets where small, not very well-known sports teams become the best. Not because of any individual player particularly, it's just because they work so well together. They have a shared sense of purpose. Your sense of purpose never ends. It differs from goals. When you reach a goal, you succeed or you fail, and then you look for the next goal. But a sense of purpose is always there. It's something you're striving for to do better. Nicely, there's never any failures. You always have that sense of purpose unless somehow you lose it or you change it. Japanese culture defines things so beautifully in simple terms. And the Japanese use this word, Ikigai, for the purpose of life, the reason for getting up in the morning and doing what you do. And they describe Ikigai in terms of 4 components, only 4. The first one is you've got to be good at it. You can't have a sense of purpose about something you're not very good at. Secondly, you've got to love doing it. If you don't like it, it's hard to get out of bed in the morning and strive towards your sense of purpose. It's got to be valuable enough for someone to pay you to do it. Otherwise, it's more like a hobby. The world has to need it. You can think of situations where people might have a sense of purpose, but it doesn't benefit anybody else. The world doesn't need their objective. 4 criteria, very simple. Love it, good at it, pay to do, world needs. So I started asking my friends, and a surprising number of them said, well, I really don't have a sense of purpose. That is a pity. Now I see what a sense of purpose is clearly. I think everybody needs one. And some other friends came up with things that in their own right are admirable. I can't criticize them, but they just aren't a sense of purpose. Common to a lot of parents is this feeling that my sense of purpose is to give my kids the best start in life. I'm going to live through them, in other words. You might love doing this, you might be very good at it, but honestly, no one pays you to be a parent, and there's a lot of people in the world. The world doesn't need more. It's not a sense of purpose. It's some admirable goal. Somebody else said, being content. This is an interesting one. It's like being happy. You might love it when you are content. You might be good at becoming content, but the world won't pay you to be content. In fact, just the opposite. The world is quite an inhospitable place, and the world doesn't particularly need more content people. So that's not a sense of purpose. It's admirable, and I'm very happy if you feel content, but it's not a sense of purpose. And then I started thinking, well, what about other things you see people do? And unfortunately, I don't know any burglars and bank robbers. At least they don't identify themselves as such. If I do, is that a sense of purpose? They might love it. They might be very good at it. They might, in a perverse way, be paid to do it. They're taking other people's money. But who needs a burglar? Who needs a bank robber? These people have no useful role in society. That is not a sense of purpose, according to Ikigai. How about this? To devote my life to science, first in chemical research, and then later in education. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the best I can do. I love it. I think I'm not bad at it, at least. I'm trying to be good at it. I'm paid to do it. And I think the world does need better education. That, for me, is the best I can come up with. It's not particularly strong, but it does fulfill my role as providing a sense of purpose in my life. 4 criteria, then. Very useful because they provide an acid test for someone who maybe thinks they have a sense of purpose or is thinking about developing one. And actually, that's what I'd like to talk about in my next video, how to develop a sense of purpose using Ikigai. Thank you all very much for listening. For it to be a sense of purpose, I have to be paid. Please like me and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.